OKC in the driver's seat with a 2-0 series lead. The wins coming in dominating fashion. The Thunder with a real shot this evening to take a stranglehold on the series led by that man, the MVP. Meanwhile, Anthony Edwards and the Timberwolves need to clean up their third quarters. It was a backbreaker in games 1 and 2. And we all know the stat. No team has come back from an 0-3 deficit in the NBA playoffs. This feels like a must-win. Game 3 of the Western Conference Finals getting going at 8:30 Eastern. Playoff Central Live starts now. Again, OKC so dominant in the third quarter so far in this series. Here's SGA on what's working for them.
Jay, you guys really seized command of both of these games in the third quarter. What are you seeing come out of halftime?
We were terrible coming out of half in the last series, and that's just been an emphasis of ours. Like, we have to, no matter what's going on in the first half, we have to start this half the right way. And we've done a pretty good job of the last two games. It's going to be very important on the road.
They give you big runs, and they try to demoralize you with those runs. And I think the first two games, they kind of did. It's really about controlling what we can control and being resilient. Keep our poise, keep believing in who we are.
Every minute in the series is a chance to find something, so we're going to go back home. This is a, good team at home. So we're going to go home and, fight for game 3.
Whatever adjustments they're looking at in that first half, they have that sense of urgency to make those changes, and they're playing 12 minutes at a time. I would say throughout the season, we have been able to wear teams down to where we put them away at times. This is a team where you're not going to put them away, and you kind of got to play 4 rounds at a time. If it's a knockout, it's going to be a TKO, and so I think that's the main difference.
All right, Jared Greenberg is in Minnesota. He's covering the series. He joins us now. And Jared, let's continue with this conversation about the third quarter because it's important. You've been covering this series from the beginning. What stands out to you?
It's been unbelievable to see these third quarters. Guys, listen, I get that the Thunder, they'll be the first to tell you they haven't won a championship yet. They don't belong to be compared to what other teams have accomplished. But there is an air about this team that is starting to remind me of the Warriors from a decade ago, with their balance on both sides of the ball, with that slogan that was used, strength in numbers. Remember that back in 15 and 16? The way they come at you in these third quarters, the Warriors truly threw those knockout punches time and time again in big situations. And really it comes at you in waves. And I think what stands out to me is the proof of the depth. We talk so much about how many different options, rotation combinations, different guys that Mark Daigneault has. But truly what we're seeing in that third quarter is the ability to exhaust yourself to the ultimate, because you know that there's somebody coming behind you that can fill your spot. They played 7 different players, the Thunder did, in the third quarter of game 2. And over the first 2 games, they've outscored Minnesota by 28 points in the third quarter, and they have scored 15 points off of turnovers in the 2 third quarters so far. Chris Finch, guys, acknowledging just moments ago when he spoke to us saying, we have to avoid those 5-minute meltdowns that happened at the same exact time in the first 2 games when we think about tonight's game.
Technically, obviously, it's not a must-win situation, but it kind of is for Minnesota. What are they saying about their desperation level?
Yeah, it's a lot of the same thing that they said in between games 1 and 2. Listen, Rudy Gobert admitted to us this morning when we spoke to him at shoot-around that they understand the situation. They understand the position they're in and what it would mean if they're down 3-0. Like you said in the bill at the top of the show, nobody's ever come back and won. They want to see a lot more quicker decision-making tonight. They want to play with that 0.5 mentality that they played with so regularly over the course of the season. They've got to limit turnovers. That's an obvious one because OKC just makes you pay when you commit a mistake. And they also need to foul less. There's so much talk about the officiating in this series. Bottom line is Minnesota has to focus in on OKC and not worry about the 3 officials who are on the floor and make sure they're defending without fouling.
And slowing down SGA, that's going to be paramount in this game, especially early on because he's been really aggressive. Is there any talk about Anthony Edwards getting more time on him?
It's an interesting conversation to build. Some of that has been discussed around Target Center today about whether we'll see more of Anthony Edwards. There's pros and there's cons. There's risk and there's reward. It certainly feels like from an athletic standpoint, Anthony Edwards would be the best option to guard Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. But the issue is the potential foul trouble that you're putting Anthony Edwards in if he does guard SGA a lot. I don't get the sense that we're going to see a lot of it in terms of the game plan, but it wouldn't surprise people that I've spoke to around the Timberwolves organization if at some point tonight Anthony Edwards goes to Chris Finch and his teammates and says, no more. I got him. I'll lock him down. But the question is, what does OKC do to Anthony Edwards if he is on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander? Do they put him in more pick and rolls? Do they try and be more physical with him? Not only trying to get him in foul trouble, but also trying to wear him out. And does his defensive effort cost him on the offensive end? And if that's the case, can the supporting cast, Julius Randle and so many of the others, step up and pick up the scoring load for Anthony Edwards if they decide to go in that direction and have him try to lock down SGA?
Hey, man, sign me up for that matchup. That would be a great one right there and a huge game for Minnesota. Appreciate the info. Thank you, Jared.
You got it.
Let's start here with SGA because after that first game where he wasn't super efficient, got to the line quite a bit, put up his numbers, in game 2 he was unreal.
It's his impact. I mean, he's the MVP, and I think he's been one of the quiet MVPs. I think we got to be loud to talk about a guy that, wasn't highly recruited in high school, played at Kentucky, but let's watch him. What I love about him is he's old school. He still plays in the post. If you allow him, no one's going to come down and reach down. You give a guy that many dribbles that's that good, he's going to make you pay. I love that he play off 2 feet. His trainer I was talking to, we've always talking, he loves to play off 2 feet, which is great for guys. And you can see he's shifty. What I loved is his trainer said, hey, Jalen, he said he takes drives and turns them into post-up, which is huge to me, which is something that basketball players have to really think about that statement.
Yes.
His mid-range is unbelievable. So watching him play, he's got it in the post, he's got it in the mid-range, he's got it at the basket, and then this is what he's been talking to me, his trainer, the guard whispered for like 3 years. He says, Smitty, we're still not there, it's coming. Then he knows how to play without the basketball. He is so good, and he understands how to create space, and he doesn't have to take those dribbles where it's east, west, east, west. Everything is north, north, north. I love him. I mean, talk about those third quarters. He's averaging 9.2 points in the third quarter in the playoffs.
All right, and you talk about the 2-point shot. They're plus 54 OKC is in this series. In this era of pace and space where coaches are teaching players to either shoot the three, shoot the layup, or get to the free throw line, what's unique about SGA is he's the MVP of the league, but he's not shooting 10 threes a game. And it's so very efficient how he's getting his numbers. But what can't get ignored that nobody's really saying out loud is on the other side, Mike Conley's 37, 38 years old, and he starts at point guard. So the interesting thing, and they talked about Anthony Edwards possibly guarding SGA, is what are they going to do with Mike Conley? Because are they going to continue to start him if he's not going to be able to be effective against SGA because they're now trying to hide him, basically?
I want to get your thoughts, Jalen, on that third quarter because we talked so much about it. When you look at the tape, why have they been so dominant?
Oh, it's defense. It's defense. And when you run away with the league's best record like OKC did, and rightfully so, you got to get a lot of guys awarded. And that's what happened with J-Dub on the all-defensive team and Lou Dort. As we've seen in the first couple of games, they've done a terrific job of giving multiple efforts, communicating and getting stops. And while we're going to, again, talk about the offensive side of what they've done, they've been one of the better, if not the best defensive teams in the league all season. Here you see on a missed shot, Naz Reid dives for the loose ball. Look at Caruso, one of their reserves, who's been giving them terrific minutes. Comes away with the turnover. J-Dub kicks it over to Chet, and they're communicating. He misses it, and he's still turning defense into offense. And right here, this is just Lou Dort and J-Dub. Like, this is a monster matchup of two defenders that have been keeping Julius Randle very quiet and pedestrian for a lot of this. And by the way, Smitty, right there, like Rudy Gobert, you just got to go stronger. You know what I'm saying? I can't act like that was such great defense. But right here, again, they're making life tough for Julius Randle. They're making life tough for Anthony Edwards. And those percentages are the reason why OKC has a 2-0 series lead.
Yeah, I mean, just to add to that is, you know, people, I know everybody's talked to you, Jalen, talked to you, Nabil. What makes OKC great? Defense, like Jalen talked about, the MVP and Shea. But really, I got to thinking about it, Jay, and watching him. It's like where we grew up. You know what it is? They don't have specialists.
Mm-hmm. They're just playing the game.
Everybody know how to play basketball.
Dribble, pass, and shoot.
There's no, I mean, they have some lockdown defenders, but they have more guys that you could just go on a pickup run and say, I'll take him, and off their team. You might lose a game, but they know how to play the game. Mm-hmm. Everybody on their team, I hate the term two-way player. You're supposed to be a two-way player. You're supposed to be a two-way player. He's 3 and D. No, they have guys, if Shea doesn't give it up to Jalen, Jalen can play the point. Mm-hmm. Caruso can play the point. Chet can play the point.
And guard multiple positions,
Hardenstein can play the point. Mm-hmm. And then Hardenstein can pass. They have basketball players. Right. Sam Presti was with me in San Antonio. I take my hat off to him.
Absolutely.
Because everybody on that roster that sub in, there's no drop-off.
Mm-hmm. They can all play.
They can all play basketball.
Got to ask you about Julius Randle. Coming off a game where he had 6 points, which is a career playoff low for him. And if you go back to game one, he was outstanding in that first half, kind of slowed down in the second half, only had 13 attempts, and goes 2 of 11 in this game. How do you get Julius Randle going?
So the unique thing about OKC is when he's on the perimeter, you can go Dort, Caruso, and J-Dub. When he's on the interior, you could go Chet and Hardenstein. So they've bothered Julius Randle wherever he's been on the floor. If you're him offensively, you got to do exactly what they have him practicing right there. You want him to catch the basketball in the middle of the floor where he can unlock who's guarding him. If it's a smaller guy, take advantage of your size. If it's a larger guy, take advantage of your speed to get him in position where, like Smitty was just talking about with SGA, where you can be into a shot after 1 or 2 dribbles versus after 4 or 5 dribbles. That's a big difference.
Yeah, and I look at it as Julius, he's going to have to play basketball again. Mm-hmm. First series against the Lakers, no bigs. Right. Golden State, no bigs. Mm-hmm. It's 2 bigs right now. And so just what Jalen said, if you're going to be a perimeter, I'm going to put my perimeter guy there. I'm just going to get up under you. Mm-hmm. And then if you think you're going to out-beat them foot speed and then you can't slow down and been able to make the next play, what he has to do is catch it at the elbow, survey, square up, and say, I see you coming, pump fake, and get somebody else an easy shot. And then Julius Randle, I need 11 rebounds if you're not shooting well. I need 13 rebounds.
Exactly.
Because he's that strong. He's that good.
Yeah, he only had 5 rebounds last game.
That's not going to get it. That's not going to get it.
Also need help from the bench here. The bench has not been great for Minnesota in this series so far. Over in the East, the Pacers stunning the Knicks in the first 2 games now, just 2 wins away from the NBA Finals. We'll talk about that after the break.